Yes, y'all. You're still tuned into the Afro Surge Show, and we have Chrlii live on air. How you doing, my brother?
How you doing? How you doing?
All right, we're good. So, Chrlii, give our listeners a brief bio of who Chrlii is.
So, Chrlii is a Caribbean guy from the West Indies. I'm Jamaican and Haitian. Um, I do Afro music. I'm a producer writer as well. So I've been kind of doing all genres, but for a long time, jumped into Afro beats not too long ago.
Yeah.
And ever since then, just been going ham and doing my thing out here in Florida. So that's pretty much who I am in a
Nice,
short
nice,
stint.
nice. So you got the best of both worlds, Haitian and Jamaican. How does the culture?
Yeah.
Well, before I even get into that, like, which part of the Caribbean culture is more dominant in you?
My Haitian side. I've been raised by my family, my Haitian side of the
All right. So if you
family.
put
I
griot in
don't
front of
really
you
know
and
too much.
jerk chicken, you go for the griot first.
You'd be surprised. I actually go for the jerk chicken first.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been raised around Haitian food for a long time. Like my family was in the food business for a long time. My dad's a sous chef. My mom does has a catering service, and my aunts basically owned a couple of restaurants and businesses for a long time. So I've been around that food service for a long time.
All right, so the Haitian side of you is more dominant in your culture, but you pick Jamaican cuisine over Haitian cuisine. I'm not trying to start no war right now, but we just kind of had to know
Nah,
where
no
your food
war,
palate
please.
is.
No.
All right, so Gary,
Yeah.
you started your music journey at a very, very early age. Can you talk us through how that kind of began for you and what inspired you to essentially become a
You know,
musician?
it's kind of crazy. The way I started music at an early age was, I used to be a musician. Being raised in church, being a young man from the hood, you kind of get caught up at the same time in the wrong things. So,
Don't we all?
I played in church, but outside the church, I was getting into trouble and everything. So my pastor's son actually, he was a producer and a writer, and he was working on a lot of big things. And he took me under his wings and showed me the other side of music, and that's how I got into like the studio side of music. To be honest,
Nice. So, all in all, how long would you say you've been a musician, producer, and what kinds of battles have you
uh,
faced along the way? Besides the regular, typical youthful exuberance and getting into trouble as a kid.
I've been doing music for a long time, so I've been doing the studio side of stuff ever since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Um, and the crazy thing about it, it was on a professional setting. Like they took me in as their intern. They showed me the ropes on mixing and engineering, and I was their engineer when they would go on the road or to a major studio. So I learned it at a very young age. I just got kind of thrown in there, and then I kind of branched out and did it myself.
Nice, nice. And that's actually a very, very good foundation. Like you learn the science behind the art, and then you just kind of jump into the arts, which is already innate in you. So, as far as I'm concerned, you had
Yeah.
a leg up on most people who jump into the game. So, shout out to you. All right, so let's jump right
Repeat
into.
that again. I couldn't hear you.
No, I was just bigging you up. So basically, what I said is you kind of did it the other way around. Like you learned the science of it, you learned the engineering piece of things before you actually began producing, which kind of gives you a step ahead of most people because most people they have the talents, they have the skill to sing and drop a track, but you kind of know the science behind it. And in my opinion, and I'm speaking as a novice, I just feel like it gives you the best of both worlds, having that under your belt
Yeah,
before you actually jump into.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. I definitely agree. And I wouldn't say you're a novice. You listen to music all the time. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I got the best of both worlds. I can honestly tell you, like, um, learning the science behind music has kind of made me more of a bigger critic against my music.
Mm.
Um, so sometimes it can be difficult, but there's some pros to it at the same time. Like, I always challenge myself to be, to adapt to the mainstream sound. And I always want my mixes to be good. I always wanted my sound to be clean. Because although it's not a competition, but your competition is the main industry. And me being an independent artist, that was my big thing. Being an engineer too, I was like, yo, I have to compete with everybody out there.
Yeah. So let's talk about
Yeah.
that. So you kind of have to build your sound to going to mainstream, but at the same time, you don't want to be mainstream and lose your uniqueness, if that's even a real word. How do you balance the act of going mainstream but still having your unique sound?
Uh, I think it's kind of like you have to pretty much be in control of your own music. You know, I feel like sometimes people get lost in the trend and they don't embrace the fact that they have something unique and they have a strong point. And for me, it was just more like experimenting, you know? Like you said, like music is really a science. And when you play around with it, you kind of find something that you're comfortable in, and then you just kind of take it and roll with it, and you test it out. And that was a big thing that, for me. Like I just tested it out. I just threw it out there, you know. Um,
Mm.
Even all my music right now, it's just me kind of sharing who I am with other people, and I believe that if they respond, then they were meant to hear something that was good for them. And I always strongly encourage artists to be that to do that is to experiment, have fun with music because music is not ours; it's for everybody else. You know?
Right, right, absolutely. All right, which is a perfect segue into my next line of questioning. So your music is about yourself. You have two tracks, and you have an EP coming out sometime next year. The first track is Animal. The second one is Bite. Talk to me, brother.
Yes.
Your music talks about yourself, and the first one's Animal. The other one's Bite. Who's the animal? Who are you biting? What's going on?
Yeah. So you know, like those two tracks kind of are very broad, but they kind of talk about situations that I've been in, and like um, the more music that you guys hear that is coming out next year, rolling out next year, you'll kind of get more of a personal, in-depth touch on who I am.
Yeah.
These I kind of put them out there to kind of give people a vibe of where these kind of show more of my personality. So I've had situations where I went out, I went out and pretty much I've dealt with women who are very aggressive. Um, and I thought I was the
My
aggressive
man.
one, you know.
I can feel your
You
pain.
know, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought I was the aggressive one. You know how they say, you gotta have a guy approach you, and I'm good. I'm a gentleman, but like I really had situations where the girl approached me and she was very aggressive and she was wild. So that's where Animal came from, and Bite was kind of the general aspect of like being sensual with the girl. Like I said, I'm partially like I'm Haitian, and
Mm.
I predominantly know my Haitian side, and like Bite talks about like the sensuality in dance with Haitian women that I've interacted with, and, and all other cultures as well. So I just kind of wanted to give more of a vibe, like more of a feel, like when we're dancing, because I love to dance. So when we're dancing, this is kind of like the interactions that I had on a
Nice.
general sense.
Nice. Yeah, and both tracks are definitely dope. To my listeners, don't forget the number to call is 774-558-7128 if you want to have a chat with Chrlii. And we're definitely going to be playing Bite and Animal before the segment is over. So we kind of know how you came up with those tracks, what the inspiration was behind both tracks that you have
Yeah.
right now. Can you speak
Mm-hmm.
towards some of the people who have kind of inspired your music along the way, or some people that you would either like to work with, or just artists? It could be old timers, it could be new timers. I just kind of rate and say, yeah, I'm feeling this person.
Uh, the funny thing is, like, every time I show somebody my music, like I've traveled near and far from Atlanta to LA, they've always said that I sound kind of sort of like Malik Berry.
Okay.
So like, so I am encouraged and I'm inspired by some of his music. I enjoy his music. He sounds really good. Um, and I think that's what really got me to listen to his music is because people said I sounded like him. um, it kind of happened by accident. I was not trying to sound like Malik Berry. It just kind of happened, and so I would love to work with him.
Okay.
Um, Back in the day, like a year ago or 2 years ago, I pretty much got the chance to be in studio with DeVito and his entourage, and
Mm.
he was working on a record with Olamide,
Yeah.
who is another Nigerian artist that's really, really dope.
Yo, like you're so caught up on.
And I've always enjoyed the, huh?
I say you are so caught up on African or Nigerian Afrobeat arts. Nice, very
To
impressive.
be honest, I was working on Zouk music first, and they were like, "Yo, actually, Black Tycoon, who is DeVito's DeVito's like creative
Creative
director,
director, yeah.
I was showing them what we were working on when we were in the studio. I was showing them like some of the music we were working on, and I really don't do that. Like, I don't really show my music to other people because I feel like I don't want to be that type to kind of like jump on you just because you're somewhere or in a position.
Yeah, true.
So I kind of I showed him my track, and he was like, "Yo, this is different." Like, he's like, "Yo, it'd be crazy if you add Afrobeat with Zouk and compa and all of that stuff." And I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "Yo, if you create some of those tracks, send it to me, and I'll have DeVito listen to it." And like, I think that would be something different that he's never done before.
Yeah.
And I kind of like just rode with it, and I started experimenting. So, and that's how I kind of got into Afrobeat. Because around the time I showed him the music, I understood what Afrobeat was. And I didn't really understand like how to produce Afrobeat. So me doing Afrobeat was something that I found as a passion because I love Zouk and compa so much and like reggae, like, because that's what I've been raised around, and I just blended it all together.
Nice, nice, nice. Definitely very interesting. It's funny because I mean, JD and I were talking. Actually, we have this conversation several times a month. That you have to kind of understand the culture to produce a good Afrobeat track, and it seems like you're steps ahead of lots of folks who try to do the Afrobeat thing. Because I mean, there's just so many hidden or background precautions that are synonymous to Afrobeat music and the Afrobeat sound, and like very impressed with the work you've done so far. And JD, let's drop that Animal track right now, and we'll just kind of have a chat about it in a bit.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Caribbean gangster. Shawty's untamed like an animal. The way she break her back, she's an animal.
Tune into the Afro Surge Show, listening to Animal by Chrlii.
Baby, the way you move, you an animal. Baby, can you tell me why you so savage? Baby, tell me why you so savage. No need to ask, baby, you could have it. Baby, can you tell me why you so savage? Shawty's untamed like an animal. The way she break her back, she's an animal. When she lose control, she's an animal. Baby, the way you move, you an animal. Baby, can you tell me why you so savage? Baby, tell me why you so savage. No need to ask, baby, you could have it. Baby, can you tell me why you so savage? The way you wine pon me, girl. Much like fine wine, me, girl. The way you work it, it excites me, girl. Yo, Bonnie and Clyde.
That is Afrobeat. Like I can't, no argument in that. That is straight up Afrobeat, and it is produced and recorded and voiced by a Haitian Jamaican. That is very very impressive. No, no lie, no lie.
And
Yeah, definitely.
y-
And let's
yeah,
drop
man, it's
bites.
kind of crazy. I talk to a lot of African.
Yeah,
I try not to be as because some people could take it the wrong way. Me being Jamaican and Haitian and trying to do Afrobeat and
yeah.
really understanding
The culture.
like and properly doing the culture, like the dialect
Hmm.
and getting the tonation right. I'm be honest with you, like it's just because I appreciate the culture so much. It's a beautiful culture, like it's beautiful music, and it reminds me of like what Haitians and Jamaicans do with dance hall and zouk and compa. It's kind of very similar, and I just pretty much wanted to not offend people, but actually show people that I respect and embrace not only that culture, but I wanted to add my culture into it as well. Because I feel like we're the same people at the same time, you
Absolutely,
know?
absolutely. I could not agree more. And as a Nigerian, I want to
Yeah.
thank you for embracing our culture and not only embracing our culture but doing it right. That is the most important part for me. And now we're gonna play a little
Yeah.
sound bite of the next track by Chrlii. This one's called Bite. Brand new music on the Afro Surge Show.
All I need's your permission to enter your garden of Eden. Eat from the fruit that's forbidden. Gain all your senses risen. She says, touch me, please me. Whatever you think comes easy. Give you more than a feeling. Tonight make me believe it. Ooh, that creeping in my garden. Ooh, I'm starving. Come take a bite, take a bite, take a bite. Take a bite, take a bite, take a bite. Who's that creeping in my garden? Ooh, I'm starving. She said, come take a bite, take a bite, take a bite. Take a bite, take a bite, take a bite.
There you had it, ladies and gentlemen. Tune into the Afro Surge Show. You just heard Bites by Chrlii. No, it was not Malik Berry. For a second, the first time I heard that track on Audio Freaker Radio, I did think it was Malik Berry. So Chrlii, I see. No, no lie, no lie. I do see what people are talking about when they say your sound. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say your sound is like Malik Berry. Your voice and your pitch
Yeah,
is
my
kind of
voice.
like his, but the sound
Yeah,
is
yeah.
different still. Like it's unique.
Yeah, I usually, and the funny thing about it is I kind of like when I create music, I kind of like call my Nigerian friends or close Nigerian people that I know, and I'm like, yo, am I doing this right? And that's how I kind of found out that they said that I sounded like Malik